Chapter 22-23 Liu Karen vs. Wood End. The terrifying storm tried to wrap up the super battleship. Even if it couldn't destroy it, it could at least make it lose balance and prevent Liu Karen from controlling the crows. But he was disappointed in the end. The Tsong Yuan clan's technological civilization level far exceeds that of the Wulwan Empire. How could their super battleships, built with cutting-edge technology, be shaken by a storm? The surface of the super battleship is covered with a huge ellipsoidal energy shield, which can absorb all forms of energy attacking the super battleship, including physical attacks, which cannot penetrate. The solution Wood came up with in a desperate situation had no effect on them. At this time, Wood left the earth, and the crows followed him. Quack, 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 quack. The crows screamed, their dark eyes flashing rapidly, capturing every movement within a wide area like a high-powered camera, calculating Wood's position and even the direction he might have escaped. More than 3,000 mechanical flying crows formed an extremely huge network, completely trapping it. Boo! They flew, opened their beaks in the sky, and sprayed out terrifying laser beams, which were intertwined like a dragnet, covering Wood and shrinking rapidly. Once hit, Wood's body would be shattered into tens of thousands of pieces of meat the size of a fingernail, like tofu cut by steel wire. Break! Wood roared, and the power of the words burst out, and the huge black words slammed into the laser network. Boom! The power of rules collided with the pure laser energy body, causing a huge explosion. Liu Karen sat on the chair, and the console was playing images of the entire Wulwan Empire. Everything is under control. She stared at Wood, a red scope locked onto his form. Then Liu Karen pressed the launch button in front of him, without hesitation. Among the 3 warships, the main gun on the right side immediately turned and aimed at Wood, unleashing a terrifying attack. The energy consumed at one time is comparable to that of 5 love-death gods. This is an extremely luxurious consumption. In the past, even Zhang Yi himself would not be willing to use it in this way unless he encountered a strong enemy. But this time, Zhang Yi was particularly generous to the people around him. He said that as long as you can ensure your own safety and actually defeat the enemy, don't be afraid of any waste. They were very well prepared, and after the war, the Wulwan Empire would have the resources accumulated over billions of years to make up for their losses. The battleship's main gun dropped from the sky, penetrating thousands of meters of space, and was so thick that it could cover an area of thousands of square meters. And Wood was right in the center of the blow. He was busy dealing with the attacks of the crows at this time, so when the main gun attack came, even though he had sensed the danger of death, it was too late for him to dodge. After all, the power of the word spirit was not enough to allow him to quickly escape to a safe area. Wood's pupils continued to dilate. At this moment, he stretched his throat, burning up all his strength, blood spurting out of his throat crazily, and roared, "Block all attacks that hurt me." As soon as he finished speaking, the main gun's beam enveloped him. Just as he wished, the attack was blocked. But what followed was a huge backlash of his own strength, and his body cracked like porcelain. From the skull to the torso, and then to the limbs, the tough skin of the lizard man seemed to be grabbed by something powerful, and then pulled hard. Sizzle. The sound of tearing cloth continued to ring out. His body was almost torn apart, and blood gushed out. Blood was gurgling out of his throat, and he could no longer utter a single word. Goo. Goo. He opened his mouth, trying desperately to say something else. But the shrill cry of crows came to my ears. Quack, 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 quack. In a flash, his body was completely submerged by a large flock of crows. Blood and short limbs flew everywhere as the mechanical crow completely dismembered him in the most primitive way, using its metal beak. In the end, he flew into the sky with only the undispersed origin. There was no suspense in Wood's battle with Liu Karen. Because from the perspective of destructive power alone, Liu Karen, who can control a super battleship, can threaten the lives of bishop-level aliens. And this is only based on the premise that the super battleship is not fully armed and is just a simple shell. It is hard to imagine how terrifying it would be if the super battleship was built by the Songyuan clan in its heyday and could be equipped with full equipment and resources. Clatter. The crow flapped its wings and flew over, landing in front of Lu Karen, holding a translucent metal can in its mouth. The two sides were dark green metal, and the middle was made of transparent material. And within it, Wood's original power is sealed. This silver-armored general of the Wulwan Empire became the first silver-armored level fighter to be killed on the battlefield. Lu Karen collected his origin and did not use it himself. This thing is to be given to my brother, and then he will distribute it. She had no hesitation about this. In her opinion, all her brother's decisions were correct. Dayu Lake. The largest lake in the Wulwan Empire, it is located at the junction of East City, North City, and Central City, covering a vast area of more than 3,000 square kilometers. A giant beast fell from the sky and crashed into Dayu Lake. It caused huge waves, and a large number of strange underground fish were directly killed by the shock, with their bellies turned upside down. Soon, the huge body surfaced, and it was Xuanwu from the East China Sea region. Xuanwu is not good at land combat, but it is not completely incapable of land combat. But once he got to land, many of his strengths were difficult to display. However, even so, he still came to this battle and teamed up with Suzaku. After all, in order to achieve a perfect victory in this battle, Zhang Yi united all the forces that could be united. Phew! Thank goodness there's water here. It's much more comfortable. The underground is very dry, which is really hard to adapt to. Xuanwu's complaining voice sounded in Suzaku's ears. Standing above him was Suzaku, dressed in a sea blue combat uniform, with long ice blue hair reaching down to her waist, and she exuded a cold aura. Although she is cold, she is indeed a holder of the special fire ability among the trait system. Ice Prison Suzaku, her flame is an icy flame. Other flames burn to release energy, but her ability is to absorb all external energy through ice flames. Chapter 22-24 The Power of the Eight Gods, Anamo. Hearing Xuanwu's complaint, Suzaku said coldly, "Xuanwu, cheer up and don't lose points. We are here to represent the East China Sea region. The entire East China Sea region, from you and me on down, has come here with the mission of washing away this shame. If we don't fight a tough battle, how can people respect our East China Sea region?" Xuanwu responded dully, "You don't need to remind me of this. I know it very well." The two stood in Dayu Lake. Although they were bickering, they did not dare to be careless at all when facing the enemy in front of them. They knew very well how strong the enemy was. The surface of the water was shaking, rippling all over the place. From a very far distance, something huge and terrifying was approaching. Zhu Yu's eyes narrowed. Here it comes. On the distant horizon, a huge gray shadow was approaching rapidly, splitting the lake in half, as if a super battleship was attacking them. Xuanwu narrowed his eyes slightly, and they saw clearly what it was. They were not unfamiliar with this thing, having dealt with it several times before. Deputy Garrison Commander of the Southern Military Region, Power of the Eight Gods, Anamo. He was one of the people who caused the giant tsunami on the southeast coast. During that time, Anamo patrolled the sea with the silver-armored generals of the Wulwan Empire, killing any humans they saw. All residents of Donghai City were forced to move underground, and even Xuanwu had to temporarily live in an excavated underground water pit for nearly half a year. The two sides are enemies meeting and are extremely jealous of each other. Anamo approached the waters where Xuanwu and Suzaku were, and a gray shadow appeared on the water surface, like a huge sail, which turned out to be an extremely huge dorsal fin. Beneath the water surface lies Anamo's true form, a ghost shark that's over 200 meters long and much larger than the black tortoise. "Here I come." Zhuke raised his hands high, crossed his soft and powerful palms above his head, and then suddenly released a surging ice-blue flame towards the water in front. The water surface began to freeze rapidly, and the power of Bingyan spread along the lake. Anamo felt the strangeness of this special energy, but he didn't care much. These two small characters in front of him only knew how to hide when they attacked Donghai City. Now, when he met them, Anamo still looked down on them. Boom! His huge body leaped out from under the water and bit towards Xuanwu and Suzaku in midair like a cannonball. The huge mouthparts were covered with ferocious barbs, and it looked like it was going to bite off half of the bodies of Suzaku and Xuanwu. Suzaku, back off. Xuanwu issued such a warning, and Suzaku used the power of Bingyan to burn Anamo, while a pair of huge wings grew on his back and flew into the sky. The cold blue flames covered the ghost shark's body, and Anamo immediately felt the strength draining away from his body, as if he was placed in a layer of ice at -100 degrees Celsius. The flames didn't look like flames, and this ability made him feel somewhat interesting. But that's all. Compared to his huge body, this level of energy loss is not enough to pose a fatal threat to him. So, he ignored the weak female human and instead focused on the meal in front of him. Sharks eat turtles. The ghost shark opened its ferocious mouth and bit directly on the tortoise shell of the black tortoise. Crack. The sharp teeth collided directly with a thick tortoise shell, making a sound of metal collision. The ghost shark was exerting its strength, and the tortoise shell, which was as strong as the black tortoise, began to crack. However, the ghost shark was not in a much better condition, as many of its outermost sharp teeth were broken. His huge body fell on Xuanwu, dragging him into the lake. Boom! The water splashed, and Xuanwu's body shrank into the thick tortoise shell, but he was not in a hurry to attack first. Instead, it waited until both bodies sank into the depths of the lake before suddenly turning around in the water, and its head popped out like a spring, biting the ghost shark's gills. The ghost shark's reaction speed was also very fast. It quickly turned around to avoid the attack, and then twisted its huge body underwater in a bow shape, biting towards the basalt's flippers. The two giant beasts began fighting underwater in the most primitive way. Zhuke spread out blue wings behind his back. Seeing the two fighting underwater, he didn't hesitate at all, and icy blue flames gushed out from his palms. When the water surface came into contact with the ice flame, it began to freeze rapidly, and soon the entire lake was blocked by solid ice. The depth of this lake can even reach 1,000 meters at its deepest point. After being frozen, the movements of the two aquatic monsters were restricted. The tactic of Xuanwu and Suzaku is to use Xuanwu's powerful defense to hold back the ghost shark, and then freeze both of them. As long as Suzaku can use the ice flame to absorb the power in the ghost shark's body, they can win with their advantage in numbers. Ghost Shark didn't take Suzaku seriously at first. At first, he thought Suzaku's ability was only freezing. But as the power of Bing Yan invaded him, the feeling of coldness made him feel more and more that something was wrong. It didn't feel like the chill was invading from outside, but rather like the strength in his body was being drained away. Xuanwu looks very clumsy, but its movements underwater are not slow at all. Hiding in his armor, he used the rapid retraction of his head to attack the ghost shark's massive body. Boo! Xuanwu opened his mouth wide, and deep in his throat, the reactor built with the highest military technology in the East China Sea region began to work. A ball of dark blue energy cannon shot out from his throat as the barrel. Xianguang Cannon. The black light cannon was pointed directly at the huge body of the ghost shark. The surrounding waters were rapidly frozen, making it difficult for the ghost shark to move. His body shook violently, shattering a large amount of ice. However, facing the close-range bombardment of the Xianguang Cannon, the ghost shark still had to choose to fight back. A large ball of compressed water condensed in his mouth, and with a gurgling sound, a large amount of water was compressed into a size of only 5 meters in diameter, and then suddenly erupted. The water cannon hit Xuanwu's Xianguang Cannon and immediately formed a water column that shot up into the sky, breaking the ice. Anamo looked at the lake around him that was quickly freezing and sneered in his heart. Dayu Lake is a freshwater lake and can be easily frozen, so it is indeed inconvenient for him to move after transforming into a ghost shark. If he confronted Xuanwu head-on, he would inevitably be harassed by the woman with blue flaming wings above the lake. Thinking of this, he suddenly exerted force with his tail, swung his body, and soared into the sky from underwater. It broke through the ice layer that was more than 10 meters thick and flew straight into the sky. As the ghost shark rose into the air, its body continued to change. Its body shrank, and it grew thick black feathers and sharp claws. Stay with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.